Kafifi in the comments says, if Congress can convict Trump, New York courts will. Chime in the comments, guys. I'm still reading comments. I'm not going to ignore you. But it's funny you should say that, Kafifi, because it's not New York courts I don't think Trump has to worry about. It actually looks like in the great state of Georgia, right? Georgia prosecutors opened criminal investigation into Trump's efforts to subvert the election results. I mean, it kind of got overshadowed by the insurrection. And this is kind of how Trump has operated for a long time. He has a scandal, something crazy, he does something crazy, says something crazy, does something totally out of the ordinary or the norms, breaches a big norm, breaks the law possibly. Of course, he can't be tried. He's the president, right? That's what the whole impeachment's about anyway. He does something crazy. And so what does he do to get out of it? He does something even crazier just to shift attention. And in Georgia, the weekend, it got leaked the weekend before the insurrection, Trump called the Georgia Secretary of State and tried to, get him to find him votes. I don't know if they're going to play an ad here, but let's see if I can bring up the audio. Of course, there's an ad. But let's just see here. An Atlanta area prosecutor has opened a criminal investigation into efforts to overturn the 2020 election result in Georgia in the wake of calls President Donald Trump placed to state officials, urging them to invalidate Joe Biden's victory in the state. Here it is.
In Georgia, based on all of this. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, Brad. You know, I mean, having a correct... the people of Georgia are angry.
Oh,
and these numbers.
What are they gonna do, Donald?
Numbers are going to be repeated on Monday night, along with others that we're going to have by that time, which are much more substantial even. And the people of Georgia are angry. The people of the country are angry. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
He later goes on to say, I just need you to find me this many votes, exactly one vote more than Joe Biden got. So in a letter Wednesday to several state Republican officials, including Georgia Governor Brian Kemp and Secretary of State Brad Raffensberger, Fulton County District Attorney Fannie T. Willis did not mention Trump by name, but stated that her office is examining a raft of potential criminal charges related to attempts to influence the administration of the 2020 election in the state. Guys, a big argument that Trump's impeachment, his defense lawyers in the impeachment were saying was, if Trump committed a crime, well, he's not president now, the courts can come after him. This isn't for the Senate to decide. Little did they know, or maybe they know quite well. Maybe they're also getting ready for this case as well. Georgia is getting ready to, it looks like they're investigating Trump for his comments. Oh, we should also note the Georgia, because it's been such a long-held red state, and then it flipped blue. There's a lot of focus on Georgia, not just by Trump, but Trump supporters. And the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensberger, they brought this up in the impeachment trials, that his family was threatened. People showed up to his house. And one of Raffensberger's staffers came out and gave a statement where he said, if things keep happening like this is days before the insurrection, he says, if things keep happening like this, people are going to end up dead. Prescient words. Let's see. I mean, I just find this really, really interesting. Let's see. Check this out. Trump had multiple calls. In a third call placed in early December to Kemp, Trump urged the governor to persuade the state legislature to overturn Biden's victory and asked him to order an audit of absentee ballot signatures. Prosecutors are scrutinizing all three of those calls, as well as the circumstances around the sudden resignation of the U.S. attorney in Atlanta, according to an official familiar with the probe, who spoke on the condition of anonymity, blah, blah, blah. Now, just goes to show you Trump's crimes are so many, so numerous, so widespread, so ranging, that really, this is going to be a whole beat following the Trump presidency, is the Trump legal ramifications of his presidency. Right now, we're seeing the most possibly public way of it, the impeachment trial. But now we're setting up to see, it's not just Georgia, but there's all of his possible tax crimes in New York. He very well could face violations of the Hatch Act and the emoluments clause for enriching himself off of his office, Trump Hotel in Washington. As soon as Trump was out of Washington, Trump Hotel was a ghost town. It's just a ghost town because now the president was no longer in town for people to, rent rooms at for him to see them there, right? I mean, the grift and the corruption is so shameless. But guess what? That dirt, that slime isn't just on Trump. And specifically in Georgia and what they're investigating in Georgia, it definitely isn't just on Trump. Take a look at this. Lindsey Graham's post-election call with Raffensberger will be scrutinized in Georgia probe. Person familiar with the inquiry says. Y'all remember how Lindsey Graham called Raffensberger as well? Pressuring him to, you got to find votes for Donald, buddy. Bad things will happen. An Atlanta area prosecutor plans to scrutinize a post-election day phone call between Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican South Carolina, and Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger as part of a criminal investigation into whether former President Donald Trump or his allies broke Georgia laws while trying to reverse his defeat in the state, according to a person familiar with the probe. The individual, who spoke on the condition of anonymity, of course, said the inquiry by the Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis will include an examination of the call Graham, a staunch Trump ally, made to Raffensperger 10 days after November 3rd. Guys, guess what? Senators don't have the protections that presidents do. They can be indicted while they're in office. During their conversation, Graham asked the Georgia Secretary of State whether he had the power to toss out all mail ballots in certain counties. Raffensperger told the Washington Post in an interview days later. He said Graham appeared to be asking him to improperly find a way to set aside legally cast ballots. Of course, Graham denied. Yeah, his spokesman says Senator Graham was asking about how the signature verification process worked, Bishop said. He never asked the Secretary of State to disqualify a ballot cast by anyone. The timing on this is also quite curious. It seems to be a less than transparent effort to marginalize anyone who helps President Trump. Oh, yeah. They're all victims. Poor Republicans. So unfair. It's very unfair what they do to us. It's very unfair. We can't, why did George W. Bush get away with all those crimes and we can't, right? This is the projection of the Republican Party. This is, they literally did everything they could to steal this election. Trump is pressuring the Georgia Secretary of State. He's bringing Pennsylvania lawmakers to the White House, putting them up at Trump Hotel with with fancy champagne. I think he did that also with Michigan lawmakers, Republicans. Just shameless. It's absolutely shameless. But what do they project? Well, it's your guy. No, you are the corrupt ones. It's not us. It's you, right? It's just crazy. And the false equivalencies are endless. The projection